Oh, 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 it's magic. You know, even believe it's not so. I know this looks like coffee in a coffee mug, but I assure you, it's 2 in the morning and this is definitely a Jack and a Coke. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hear that we're all enjoying the apocalypse. I hope you are. I certainly am. Lately, I've just been sitting around petting my cat and watching movies. And you know what movies I really like to watch when things are really bad? Is things that are bad in ways that the world currently is not. Sometimes it's good to distance ourselves from the horrors of the world by seeing other horrors of the world. So I know you're thinking, you already did a list of 50 movies that could help distract me from this horrible thing that's going on. But you know what? Social isolation, it requires a bit more sometimes. I get that. I understand. Sometimes it requires a bit of the old ultra-violence. So, today, I have prepared a list of super secret ultra hard mode movies that are gonna really fuck you up. So let's talk about those now. Oh bitch, I got a good list for you. Let's just get started.
Bullshit artist.
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 Bullshit
Bullshit
artist.
artist.
Bullshit artist.
You, sir, are a horseshit artist.
I call bullshit on that.
Okay girls, it's time to talk about The Greasy Strangler. Depending on who you are, The Greasy Strangler is either the greatest film that's ever been made or a big pile of shit. I am one of the people that thinks that it's both at the same time. And you know what? Sometimes those things can be copacetic, kind of like Jack and Coke. They don't seem like they would mix, but at 2 in the morning, they sure do.
What the fuck is this shit?
The story follows a older man and his son as they cuck each other over a woman that comes to their weird disco tour that they do. And yeah, cuck each other is the correct word. That's all. That's the movie. That's it. So, oh, did I mention they shit on each other? And the dad is a serial killer. A fucking real serial killer who covers himself in grease and he goes and he pulls people's eyeballs out of their head and he eats them. Yum yum, we love ourselves an eyeball. But it has such great choice dialogue that honestly, I'm gonna quote it until I'm in my casket. The last thing I want in the last line of my eulogy, I want it to say, I just don't want this to f you up and leave you lonely.
I'm gonna dunk Big Ronnie's dog all the way in.
You must give me free drinks immediately.
Drop it with the free drinks crap.
That'll be uno, dos, tres bucks.
Bullshit. You make this the greasiest feast since that goose you cooked on Christmas. I need this oily. I need this to lubricate the world. I need this dog to have some grease on it.
I'm Big Ronnie and I'm back! The Greasy Strangler is embarrassing to watch with anybody, which is why you should watch it with everybody. Film is called Salo, or 120 Days of Sodom. And now I know that you're thinking, isn't that on the Criterion Collection? That must be way too highbrow for this list. Well, 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 don't you worry. The Criterion Collection gave us a real treat today because they decided to include a movie that did, in fact, include a little bit of coprophagia. If that is a big word to you, then maybe Google it, but don't go to the image search. No, no, no. You know, it's just got a whole host of things that you really don't want to put in your retinas. But you know what? If your reality is kind of scary, sometimes putting Salo or 120 Days of Sodom into your retinas can really numb the pain. I think I hate this movie, but maybe not. I don't know. I'm kind of undecided. It's very anti-fascist. It's made by a very smart man named Piero Paolo Pasolini. It's an epic of shit. You'll love it. But not an epic of shit like Caligula, like something Marquis de Sade would write, which is true because Marquis de Sade did write it. That's a fact, Jack. The next movie is a special treat. You know, sometimes the movies on this list, they aren't gonna be winners, and that's okay. This movie's called Las Vegas Bloodbath. Las Vegas Bloodbath is a movie about a bunch of women who eat a pizza pie. I'm not kidding. 90% of the movie is literally one scene where a bunch of women eat a pizza on the floor. They don't really talk about much. They just kind of sit around and eat a pizza. But the rest of the movie, the other 10% makes that 90% really interesting. The other 10% is about a murderous psychopath who goes around killing a lot of people in very blunt and comical ways. Horrible. Just horrible. The worst murder I ever did see. Moida. It's a moida. So naturally it gets really good when you combine the two and you get a scene where a bunch of women eat pizza for a very suspiciously long time before a murderer shows up and then does some stuff to them.
Come on, tie him up! Don't you know how to tie a knot? Come on. Tighter.
I know.
And let me tell you what, it is absolutely hysterical to watch this film at all, for any reason. I don't even need to point out a specific scene. There is really only the one.
Travis,
take it easy.
that stuff's great.
What do you
any more of
got?
them different kind of donuts?
But I can't recommend it enough. I mean, it is both boring and horrific at the same time. While also being hilarious and very not funny. You're gonna have a great time with Las Vegas Bloodbath. It's shot on video, looks like shit, sounds like shit, and it is, in fact, shit.
All women are alike. Just don't deserve to live.
But it's time to move on, my friends.
Chaos reigns. What the fuck is this shit?
The time has come, yes, lo, the time has come for Antichrist, the film by Lars von Trier. Now, if you know anything about Lars von Trier, you know he's a dirty, weird man who has a lot of problems, clearly, and likes to torture his actors. And he probably does that because he likes to torture everybody. I mean, look at the film Antichrist. It's literally a 3-hour-long torture session. Not for Willem Dafoe, who gets his penis crushed in the film, but me, for watching it. Basically, the film revolves around Willem Dafoe and Charlotte Gainsbourg hanging out in the woods and grieving for their dead son. And by grieving, I mean he gaslights the shit out of her until she crushes his dick with a big rock. It's just a whole bunch of genital injury, and not like an Adam Sandler movie genital injury, but very graphic, very detailed, very realistic, and in slow motion, so you don't miss a single frame of it. It's so unforgettable that I only saw it once and I've mentioned it in like 10 videos now. That's a good track record. It ought to make you forget about a whole lot of things. Like my whole childhood, really. Alright, let's move on. Oh shit, friends, it's Visitor Q. So, Visitor Q is a movie directed by Takashi Miike, and it is a mockumentary, found footage, something. And as you know from the film Audition or the film Ichi the Killer, which we'll talk about later, Takashi Miike he's got maybe some problems. He's an evil man, a dirty man. This movie features a scene in which there is necrophilia from a father to his daughter, who is dead, yes. And he gets his dick stuck inside her. He has to have help from other people to get it out. And it's played for laughs. Ha ha ha, hoot and holler. Great time, great family entertainment, that one. I would not recommend Visitor Q to any human being who is alive and has a pulse. But these extenuating circumstances call for pretty extreme measures, and nothing is socially isolating like saying you've watched Visitor Q. If you ever walk up to somebody and say, hello, I've just seen Visitor Q, congratulations, you've been socially isolated. Usually in prison.
What in the name of sweet breakfast meats are you doing?
For your information, this is me being creative.
Tom Green, right? Freddy Got Fingered is arguably a masterpiece of satire, but for everybody who doesn't know anything about satire and really doesn't care about whether or not something is classified as a masterpiece, it is the movie where Tom Green suddenly jerks off a horse.
Look at me, Daddy! I'm a farmer!
A farmer, yes. He also jerks off an elephant in the film. And it's like a fire hose. Definitely a fake elephant penis. Bullshit artist. Freddy Got Fingered is fucking awful, but great too. Now is a great time to click off this video. It's also the movie where Tom Green decides to get inside of a dead deer carcass and then gets hit by a car. It's also the movie where he puts sausages on the ceiling and sings a little song on the keyboard.
Daddy, would you like some sausage? Sausages! Sausages!
It should definitely have been forgotten years ago, but for whatever reason, we remember it. I remember it. How could I forget it? It doesn't have a Blu-ray release yet, but crossing my fingers. But it definitely will start a lot of conversations with your family when you're socially isolated. Isn't it fucked up that we all basically just ended up living out the story of the lighthouse? Like, we're all just trapped inside a building with other people, and they have to tolerate us watching shit like Freddy Got Fingered? I thought you liked me, Lobster. Necromantic is the most romantic film ever made about necrophilia, but that's probably because it's one of the few movies made about necrophilia and there's not a lot of competition. Unfortunately, this movie is fucking terrible in every single way. Sorry. I know there are some diehard fans, but it is. Look, this is probably the most obscure and hardcore movie on this list. It does have a Blu-ray release, so it's a little less obscure, a little more prolific perhaps than Freddy Got Fingered. But it definitely was made for lower money and less ideas on display. It's pretty much a movie where people have sex with corpses. If that's not your thing, then I would recommend maybe turning on anything else. But for those of you out there that really want to explore the limits of what one's mind is able to take, might I recommend the film Necromantic. It's actually kind of hilarious if you're fucked up in the brain. I've heard it's hilarious. I don't. I'm perfect. I would never laugh at such a thing. She's too innocent to laugh at something like that. She wouldn't ever watch Necromantic. I mean, this is obviously kind of a hardcore choice. A lot of people would probably be very repulsed by the inclusion of something like this. It is worth noting that this list is a hard mode list and not an impossible mode list. I am not going to force you to watch August Underground Mortem, nor am I going to force you to watch Slaughtered Vomit Dolls, but if you want to give those a try, do that at your own risk and never say you heard those from me. However, Necromantic, I guess I gotta take credit for. I did bring that into your brain, and I'm so sorry.
Je crois que vous êtes un bon professeur.
Merci.
Et vous parlez des choses comme si elles vous appartenaient. C'est très rare. Je crois que vous le savez.
Schubert et Schumann sont mes deux préférés, c'est tout. Et de plus, mon père est mort complètement fou à l'asile de Steinhof. Il ne m'est donc pas très difficile de parler du crépuscule de l'esprit, n'est-ce pas?
Swapping over to something that is also on the Criterion Collection because somebody over at the Criterion Collection has a little bit of a boner for horrible violence. It's a film about a woman who teaches piano to a boy that she desperately wants to have sex with, who desperately wants to have sex with her, but they have very different ideas of what sex means. For instance, he wants to be nice and sweet to her, and she wants him to do stuff to her. It's probably problematic to say you like the piano teacher, but then again, who's keeping track anymore? The piano teacher is compelling, that's for sure. You'll love it. It'll be great to watch with your mom, especially the ending, which is definitely not the worst thing I've ever seen. I'm just kidding. That's called Necromantic. Actually, that's also a joke. I have seen it at August Underground Mortem and Slaughtered Vomit Dolls. You might call me what they call a connoisseur of absolute trash. Gaspar Noé is a filmmaker that people like for different reasons. For instance, they really like Irreversible for being fucked up and terrible, but Irreversible, I don't know, it's fine, it's okay. Climax, fine, it's okay. I don't know, I'm kind of a lukewarm opinion on Gaspar Noé's films, but I will tell you, Enter the Void is perhaps the most horrifying thing I've ever seen in my life. It is the story about somebody dying, and then we see the entire movie from their perspective as they go through the process of being dead and experience the worst shit. There's an entire part in it where they just relive their trauma over and over and over again, and their trauma looks an awful lot like my trauma, which makes me really, really traumatized. And if you're anything like me, and you experience some of that too, you will cry. There's not really a lot positive to say about this experience. It is dreadful and shitty. And Gaspar Noé should probably be brought up on charges for doing this to me, but unfortunately, I don't believe he's in the United States, so I don't really have that jurisdiction, so I'm not gonna pursue a case or anything, but Gaspar, if you ever move here, you're fucked. Oops, it's time for Martyrs, the most upsetting experience for anybody who's ever existed. And the reason that it's upsetting is because of the little word called empathy. See, this movie is weirdly better than all the other movies on the list in the sense that you kind of care about the characters in it, so when they get horribly mangled, it's very upsetting to see. Basically, the movie centers around this revenge that someone's getting for some childhood trauma they went through. I'm looking at you, Gaspar Noé. And that leads them into a pit of absolute terror, and I don't really want to reveal any more than that, but I'm pretty sure that someone should probably reveal that to you so you don't have to sit through it without knowing what's going to happen, because needless to say, it could be very upsetting for somebody who has any filter whatsoever. General content warning on this entire video, there's gonna be a big one, but on this movie in particular, for whatever reason, I feel like including another one. So here's another one. Empathy be damned. I guess I just care about this movie a lot, and it means that it upsets me greatly. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around beside you. Like and subscribe. Hi, baby. Oh, meow. Oh, meow. Oh, hi, honey. Oh my goodness. Oh, you come too close. Tiger King. Hello. It's your YouTube channel now. Wait, are you making biscuits? What are you doing, honey? You're so pretty. I'm so glad I got you here during this time. Oh my God. You're like my best friend. I don't know what I would do without you, little one. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down. Thanks for that food! Oh my God! On my prior list of 50 movies that you should check out during the apocalypse, I brought up John Waters' film Serial Mom, which I think is a very exciting introduction to the films of John Waters. Unfortunately for you, though, John Waters did make other movies, and one of them is Pink Flamingos. Yes, the Pink Flamingos that was mentioned in The Road Chip, the one that Alvin saw. Alvin's a dirty boy. Honestly, watch Female Trouble instead.
Who wants to be famous? Who wants to die for art? I do!
You don't have to go straight for Pink Flamingos. I feel like Pink Flamingos has such a title. Everybody's like, that movie's fucking disgusting. Because it is fucking disgusting, and really, John Waters never outdid how fucking disgusting it is. But he does have other movies around this time that are also really fascinating and interesting, and Divine is in them and is a queen. However, I mean, everybody's gonna want that lukewarm introduction into absolute shit. So we're gonna go with Pink Flamingos for now. It's a movie about people being awful.
How can you be so shitty to people? How can you stand yourself? I guess there's just two kinds of people, Miss Sandstone. My kind of people and assholes.
And that's the whole point of the movie, really. It's just people are really awful and they cannibalize other people and they lick somebody's house and the furniture rejects them. They have a lot of sex. They send each other poo in the mail. They order eggs from a literal egg man and then marry the egg man. And then at the wedding, they do kill and eat the cops. If that sounds appealing to you, then you should kill everyone now. Condone first-degree murder. Eat shit. And she shows off the goods.
Kill everyone now. Condone first-degree murder. Advocate cannibalism. Eat shit. Filth are my politics. Filth is my life. Take whatever you like. Yes.
In this house, we stand Divine, but really, I don't think there's a lot that one can do to outweigh the fact that she did eat literal dog shit at the end of the film. And if you don't want to see somebody eat literal dog shit, might I remind you that you don't have to watch the film, or you can shut it off 5 minutes before the end, and then you can miss it. Congratulations, you just unlocked the secret to Pink Flamingos. Watch the movie, but don't. And if you do, just go ahead and skip the last 5 minutes. It's really not. You don't have to.
Now it's dark.
Let's fuck! I'll fuck anything that moves!
Uh-oh, y'all, it's one of the obligatory David Lynch picks. So I guess there's a temptation to choose Eraserhead because it's one of my favorite movies and it is really fucking weird and you should watch it, it's really cool. But I'm gonna go with Blue Velvet because that movie's really fucking unacceptable. Blue Velvet is like a Hardy Boys mystery movie with Kyle MacLachlan from Twin Peaks, who we kind of stan and he's cute and we love him. However, it is like really, I'm gonna say it, aren't I? Yep, rapey, and I don't like that at all. And most of the movies on this list are, but like, I don't know, Blue Velvet is really, really rapey.
Gone tomorrow.
But it's also kind of a great movie, which is not something that the other movies on the list have. A lot of them are bad. A lot of the movies on this list are really bad. But Blue Velvet is pretty good. I've written many an essay on Blue Velvet, but I can't say that I've written many an essay on Necromantic. But perhaps I should have to try and introduce the world to my sick brain. Nonetheless, Blue Velvet is a great movie that will definitely distract you from the apocalypse for a very long time. It's a long movie. You're gonna be real happy you watched it, unless you're not. So Audition, right? Audition is fine. I don't know if I'm in love with it as much as I am with Ichi the Killer, but then again, Ichi the Killer is like also questionable. Audition is a slow mystery movie that suddenly has the worst scene ever in it. It actually has like 2 or 3 of the worst scenes ever in it. And I mean, you know how in Berserk, there's that moment that everybody's like, oh God, you know the moment? Oh God, the moment's coming. Oh fuck, have you gotten to the moment yet? You know the bit? Audition is exactly like that, only instead of the thing that happens in Berserk, it's somebody getting their legs cut off with piano wire. Yep, that happens in the movie. We should watch it. You'd love it. But let's go ahead and lump Ichi the Killer in there too, because Ichi the Killer is fucked. There's a lot of things about Ichi the Killer that's fucked. I mean, for the first bit of it is that it's kind of an anime. I think that it's based on a manga of some kind, but I've never read it, nor do I know anything about it, so I can't really speak to that. However, the movie is kind of like an anime. I mean, people are dressed in very vibrant clothes, they do really outlandish things, and the main character does have a giant mouth that he is made with knives, and he pierces the cheeks so that he can close his giant mouth, but sometimes he likes to bring out the big mouth so that he can eat people's fists. That's true, that happens in the film Ichi the Killer. There's really not much more to say other than that. It's kind of like if JoJo's Bizarre Adventure suddenly had a scene where someone cut off people's body parts with sushi knives. IRL, like for real. Some bad stuff happens in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but nothing close to what happens in Ichi the Killer. I just spilled a little of my Jack and Coke. Fuck. This isn't Jack and Coke, it's rum and Coke. I'm fucking stupid. It's time for my favorite subgenre of movie, the cannibal movie. And by favorite, I mean I hate them. Everybody's gonna want me to say Cannibal Holocaust, so I'm gonna say Cannibal Holocaust. You should watch it. You shouldn't watch it, and it's also unacceptable, and nothing about it is any good, and it's complete dog shit, but it's also maybe a great movie, but maybe a terrible movie. It's kind of hard to decide. I would love to read somebody else talk about it, because when I talk about it, I start to sweat a little bit, because I'm scared, because the people who stan Cannibal Holocaust are really, really aggressively into it, and the people who hate Cannibal Holocaust will kill you if you say you like it. So I'm gonna say I'm completely neutral on it, and I've never had any thoughts about it. However, I have had thoughts about Cannibal Ferox. So if you don't know, Umberto Lenzi is a filmmaker who was competing with Ruggero Deodato over the whole cannibal craze. There were a couple other filmmakers who were really into it too, but it was mostly these two, and they were trying to one-up each other, and Cannibal Ferox is a movie that is a pretty big one-up, if I do say so myself. There's a great bit in Cannibal Ferox where a guy comes along and cuts off the penis of a villager. Moments later, a villager comes along and cuts his penis off. Yes, we are talking about a feature film that you can buy on Blu-ray. But the great thing about his penis being cut off is he just kind of walks it off, and for the remainder of the movie, he's just kind of like, ah damn, lost my dick, can't relate. Wish I could, but I can't. Donate to my Patreon. To make me like the character in Cannibal Ferox. I'm a girl, I swear to God I'm a girl. Fuck off. So if you really want to get into the cannibal thing, might I recommend Cannibal Ferox. You don't always have to go for the thing that's the most popular. I mean, it is popular for a reason. It is really fucked. Cannibal Holocaust is really fucked. But Cannibal Ferox is a pretty good companion. I would highly recommend, if you're going to watch Cannibal Holocaust, you gotta double it up. You gotta watch Cannibal Ferox. If only for the scene where the guy gets his dick cut off and then is just like, ah dang. We've all been there, right, ladies?
The wind has changed. It has turned. Are we to have a thunderstorm? And is this not a forecast of even more violent storms that may cause our great country's unity to falter? I have heard God's voice, and his word has told me to write a story, to write a book. I think I'll call it Uncle Tom's Cabin.
So cannibal movies are one thing, but cannibal movies are commenting on a certain thing that happened shortly before, which is the Mondo craze. That being Mondo Cane 2, and a whole bunch of movies made by those fellas. And that brings us, unfortunately, to a pair of movies that no one should ever watch, yada yada yada, but these are very fucking racist. Cannibal Holocaust and Cannibal Ferox are also really fucking racist, but these are really fucking racist. I'm going to tell you now of a film. I'm gonna feel bad as I say it because I know people are gonna go out and watch it, and there's nothing I can do about that. But you know what? We're here, we're queer, and there's nothing we can do about that. So it's time to talk about Goodbye Uncle Tom.
And their bones were collected by these old slaves whose freedom was bought with the white man's life. This was the price America paid, first to free itself, and then the rest of the world from the institution of slavery.
I decided that I'm going to bring this up, even though I know that it's a fucking awful idea. Goodbye Uncle Tom is a movie where a couple of documentary filmmakers, documentary cannot be in enough fucking quotations, decide to make a documentary about the American slave era South. Now I know you're thinking, well, it sure fucking isn't the slave era South anymore. How can you make a documentary about something that has passed? Oh, don't worry about that. They got that under control. They decide to take a time machine to the slave era South, and by that I mean they take a helicopter while some of the music from Drive plays. No, I am not fucking shitting you. Some of the music from Drive is in this.
It's not for those men still lost in an old black shadow.
And they go to Haiti to pretend that it's the American South, just have a whole bunch of slaves in the movie, and then they talk about how bad the slaves are treated. But here's the fucking kicker with that. In an attempt to make a movie that is super, super, super not racist, they accidentally make the most racist movie ever and the worst, most unethical movie ever because they used Haitian slaves as extras in the movie and they were their slaves. So often when you're watching Goodbye Uncle Tom and you're like, hey, this feels really realistic, the chances it probably fucking is. It is a movie about how racism is bad while doing some racism in the most awful way possible. And then at the end of the movie, it tries to justify itself in a very extreme way by having somebody read a book written by Nate Turner and then go kill a bunch of white people by throwing their babies against the wall.
You'd almost forgotten about the baby.
It literally condones a race war at the end, and it is justified based on the things they do in the movie, but there's no justification for the fact the movie exists. It's fucking something else. It's from another planet, but it could only be from a planet where fucking white people would do this. And now it's time to drink. Now I'm a real YouTube movie critic. I'm doing a drink before I talk about the movies. I don't really know what to tell you other than the fact that it's absolutely morally unacceptable and unethical. A lot of the people in it definitely did not want to be in it, and it is the epitome of an exploitation film. So once upon a time, a few years ago, there was this weird nerd that made a video about the Holy Mountain. And that nerd was me, and I'm sorry you watched it. But guess what? Right now, with all this going on, is a great time to go revisit or watch for the first time the film The Holy Mountain, directed by Alejandro Jodorowsky. See, I'm pronouncing it differently than the other video just to prove the point that people yell at me. And I will be right.
With this electronic rod, he will rub its mechanical vagina. The skill of the spectator will determine the machine's ability to reach a climax.
The Holy Mountain is an abstract art film about people going to a mountain to find out if they can take ultimate power, and then they find out that actually they're in a movie. I know it sounds insane, but it is real and you can watch it. It's on Blu-ray, and it was paid for by George Harrison of the Beatles.
Grenade necklaces, rock and roll weapons, mystical weapons for Buddhists, Jews, and Christians.
I don't really want to talk about the Holy Mountain, I just realized. What film list would be complete without a mention of a cyberpunk film that is deeply unsettling on every level and would definitely distract one from a hypothetical apocalypse? It's time to talk about Tetsuo the Iron Man. If you know anything about Tetsuo, you know that if you watch it on a plane and you're watching it next to somebody, that person will report you to the staff and they will make you move seats. I know because it happened to me. No one told me this was gonna happen. No one told me the movie was that fucking disgusting, but guess what? There is a moment in the movie where somebody has a power drill for a dick. I will say again, there is a power drill for a dick. The weird thing about Tetsuo the Iron Man is that the sound design is fucking unsettling and horrible and terrible to hear, and it will make you weirdly sick, especially if you're nervous about flying on a plane. But that was really the wrong time and place to watch Tetsuo the Iron Man. The correct time and place to watch Tetsuo the Iron Man is after watching this video. Tetsuo the Iron Man is a movie about a guy who accidentally runs over a metal fetishist with his car and then becomes metal himself, becoming possessed by the spirit of the guy that died by his car. He begins to grow metal out of his skin, and then his skin is quickly replaced by metal, including his dick, which becomes a power drill. I'm not shitting you, that's real. And he does fuck his girlfriend with that dick. I don't know, I don't make the rules. And she is into it. She's into it. She's into the dick, the power drill dick. By the end of the movie, you want to die. It's great. You'll love it.
What the fuck is this shit?
I feel like I've reached the end of Freddy Got Fingered, where by the end of talking about this list, I'm like as unhinged as he is after he just blows $1 million, where he's like, easy come, easy go. My sanity, I had sanity, is gone. So that's me. I've lost my mind by this point. I've talked about 70 films today, 70 of those. I mean, who's counting? But I think it was 70. I'm gonna call it 70 so that when I report it to my insurance and say that I've lost my mind and I need help, they'll be like, you talked about 70 films? Oh, we'll write you a check immediately, ma'am. And they'll call me ma'am because I'm pretty. Thank you for watching this series of terrible videos. If you would like to subscribe to my channel, you should do that. I can't stop you from subscribing, but if I could, I would. There are other channels. Might I recommend my wife's channel? It's just her name, Azriel Erickson. She's got a video coming out. It's very good. You'll like it a lot. But leave a like on this video if you're gay, and leave 2 likes on this video if you're straight. Reparations. You gotta leave 2 likes. That's how it works. I'm sorry. Actually, I think if you leave 2 likes, it will unlike the video. It's like liking and then unliking the video, so then it won't get any likes. So just everybody like the video, completely egalitarian. You know, don't worry about the reparations, just like the video. If you really want to pay reparations, may consider hopping over to patreon.com/NickSpheres and dropping a little bit of money my way, a little cash. I could definitely use it. I don't have medical insurance and I am fucking horrified. Nothing like a crisis when you're uninsured. I hope you enjoyed these videos, but how could you? It was a list about terrible things, but I assume that you enjoyed hanging out with me and being my best friend, and we held hands for a little while and we had a little bit of a guffaw about some terrible things. And I hope that you hang out with me next time when I talk about, looks at the list written on wrist, that new Glenn Danzig movie, Veronica. We're gonna talk about Veronica now. I'll see you next time. Seriously though, please be safe. I adore you. Please be safe.